Hey everyone, this will be my rendition of One of These Days by Gabriel Garcia Marquez, and it is my story for adults. Monday dawned, warm and rainless. Aurelio Escobar, a dentist without a degree and an early riser, opened his office at 6. He took from a glass case a set of false teeth still in the plaster mold and a fistful of instruments. He placed everything on the work table and arranged them in size order, as though they were going on display. He wore a collarless striped shirt, closed at the neck with a gold pin, a pair of black pants, and suspenders. He was skinny, and he had a look about him that rarely corresponded to the situation at hand. Once everything was arranged, he pulled the drill toward the dental chair, sat down, and began to polish the teeth. He worked as though he wasn't thinking, polished steadily, and every now and then he would absent-mindedly pump the drill, even though he wasn't using it. A little after 8, he looked out the window toward the sky. On the roof of the house next door, 2 pensive buzzards were sunning themselves. He returned to his work with the idea that it would rain again before lunch when the shrill voice of his 11-year-old son broke his concentration. "Papa!" "What?" "The mayor is here. He wants to know if you'll pull his tooth." "Tell him I'm not here." He had now a gold tooth in his hand. He held it at arm's length and examined it with half-closed eyes. The sound of his son came again. "Papa!" "What?" "He says you are too here because he can hear you." The dentist didn't respond, and instead began polishing the gold. But a moment later he did mutter to himself, "So much is the better." The sound of his son came again. "Papa!" "What?" He says if you won't pull his tooth, he's going to shoot you." The dentist stopped polishing. He stopped pumping the drill, and instead he pushed away from the work table and went to the lowest drawer. He opened it, and inside was a revolver. "Okay, tell the mayor to come and shoot me." A moment later, the mayor appeared at the door. The left side of his face was clean-shaven, but the right side was swollen with pain and covered in a 5-day-old beard. The dentist could see a look of desperation in his eyes. He closed the drawer. "Sit down," he said. "Good morning," said the mayor. "Morning," responded the dentist. He then went to go and boil the instruments for the extraction. The mayor sat down and leaned his head back against the chair to feel a little better. It was a poor office about him. Wooden table, pump drill, the glass case filled with ceramic vials. But he could sense the dentist moving about the space, and so when the dentist approached, he dug in his heels and opened his mouth. The dentist leaned toward the light to look into the mayor's mouth. He could see that the lower wisdom tooth was the problem. He closed the mouth with a gentle pressure from his fingertips. "It will be without anesthesia." "Why?" "Because you have an abscess." "Okay." The mayor tried to smile a little bit, but the dentist did not return the gesture. Instead, he went to go and fetch the instruments, which were now boiled. He brought them back over, and the mayor followed the dentist with his eyes, but the dentist did not look back. Instead, he took each of the instruments out of the water. Then, when he had the forceps, he approached. The mayor gripped the side of the chair and opened his mouth. The dentist placed the forceps on the tooth with just his wrists, and then he leaned in. Before he started pulling, he said to the mayor, without rancor, instead, with a bitter tenderness, "Now you'll pay for our 20 dead men." He began to pull. The mayor could feel the bone in his jaw start to crack, but he didn't make a sound, and he held his breath until he could feel the tooth pull loose. He could see it in the forceps as his eyes filled with tears. It seemed so foreign a thing to him now, this tiny tooth causing him 5 days of pain. He started sweating and panting, and he unbuttoned his tunic to lean over the spittoon. He then fumbled for a handkerchief, but the dentist beat him. He handed him a dry, clean cloth. "Wipe your tears," he said. The mayor did. Once he recovered a little, he leaned back and looked toward the ceiling. It was peeling, and it was covered in cobwebs and dust and dead insects. The dentist spoke. "Go home. Go to bed. Gargle with salt water." The mayor stood up then, and he didn't rebutton his tunic. Instead, he gave a casual sort of salute and said to the dentist, "Send the bill." He began to walk towards the door. The dentist asked, "To you or to the town?" The mayor passed through the door, closed it behind him, and said back to the dentist through the screen, "It's the same damn thing.